Hi, I'm Marc Acetta, your Director of Training, and welcome to our Objections Overruled video. I can't wait to, in a little while, get to why we called Objections Overruled, but I think once we do, you're going to really enjoy that. But for now, let me just start off by sharing with you. I know a lot of you have never really been involved in selling before, and the concept of overcoming objections might be a little bit intimidating to you, so let's just roll back for a minute. I've been at this point in my life involved in direct selling and network marketing for over 30 years. So I've been in people's homes and I know exactly what it is you're going to be going through. So here's the simple process. You do a presentation. At the end of the presentation, you ask the person to either buy the product, get enrolled in your business, or perhaps do both. Either way, once you do those two simple things, you're going to get one of three responses. You're going to get some people saying, yes, I definitely want to do that. And you're getting in other people saying, no, it's not really for me. And either one of those is fine. One of the people featured on our video here is a gentleman named Ed Blunt. He's one of our top leaders in the field. And I love the way Ed positions it. He says, all we're really doing here is collecting decisions. And ultimately, it's easiest when it's just a yes or a no. I mean, I know we don't want the no's, but no's are inevitable. There's never been anybody selling any product at any price that was so spectacular that someone wasn't saying no to them on a regular basis. The key is not to take the no's personally. If you come to our live trainings, we will eventually really get you to where the no's don't bother you at all. A lot of people now are excited about getting no's because they know it puts it a lot closer to a yes for them. But anyway, let's just get back to the point. You get three responses: a clear yes, a clear no, or in many situations, you're not going to get either one. You're going to get what we refer to as an objection. Someone might say, well, I really like your business and I'd like to do it, but I'm not sure if I have the time. Or, you know, I really want your product, but I don't know if I have enough money right now. Things along those lines where they're not really saying yes and they're not really saying no. Now, most people, when they've never done anything like this before, I remember me 30 years ago, an objection used to get me really nervous, like, oh no, now what do I do? They didn't say yes real easily, but just understand this. An objection is actually a really good thing because an objection does not mean no. No means no. An objection means I really want to buy your product, or I really would like to get enrolled in your business. You just haven't given me enough information yet. Let's just stop for a moment and think, as consumers, do you and I like to buy things? Of course we do. It's fun to buy things, especially exciting things like travel. Our membership is a fun, exciting thing for people to purchase. As far as the business opportunity goes, so many people, you know, when they make their New Year's resolutions, probably the biggest New Year resolution is to make more money the following year. But most people can't storm into their boss and say, hey, I want you to give me more money because I made a resolution. A lot of people in this day and age are looking for an alternative source of income, which is ideal for what we're doing here in our business. So a lot of people want to buy what World Ventures is offering, but if they're giving you an objection, it simply means you haven't given them enough information for a clear yes at this point. So relax, don't get depressed, don't get despondent, don't feel like you're losing. Realize this is your indication that you've got to give them even more information, even more enthusiasm, so we can push them over the edge and we can get them to that yes, which is obviously ultimately where we'd like for them to go. Hear ye, the Honorable Judge Marc presiding. Now, I'm not really a judge, and I'm sure you're not either. But the bottom line is, what if in your mind you adopted that kind of posture when someone was giving you an objection? I heard a long time ago that life is 95% mental, and the other 5% is all in your head. If when someone gives you an objection, you get nervous and start going, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say, and you feel in a way that they're totally in control and you have no ability to correct the situation, that's not the posture of a leader, and no one's going to want to follow you. On the other hand, what if you looked at yourself as a judge? Think of a courtroom for a minute. The bottom line is the judge sits behind the bench. The people who are on trial rarely speak for themselves. The attorneys speak on their behalf. So if one attorney has the floor and is questioning the witness, after a while, the other attorney may raise an objection. They raise their hand and literally say, I object, Your Honor. I believe that he is leading the witness. Or I object, Your Honor. I believe he's badgering the witness. So needless to say, we're not in a courtroom and we don't have those kinds of objections. What our prospects say is, you know, I like what you're doing. I just don't think I have the time for it. Or I'd like to buy a product, but I don't have the money. So while you're not going to crack the gavel like the judge there and say, objection overruled, you're not going to do that. You're going to probably want to get rid of the gavel. You don't want to have an actual gavel. But you understand what I'm saying. If mentally you look at it like you are in charge, and instead of just giving your opinion, that you're going to actually make a ruling. Now, you're going to be a good, kind, fair judge, and you're going to make fair rulings that are in the best interest of the people in front of your court. But when someone comes in and they say, yes, I really do want to change my life, I really do want to do this business, I'm really ready for a change, but then they still have some kind of an objection, if you can make a ruling that overrules that objection and helps them get started in the business, you're actually helping them, because all judges really deep down inside want to help the people who come into their courtroom. On the other hand, sometimes as a very honest judge, you may listen to all the arguments, so to speak, and say, you know what, I really don't think this business is for you, or I don't think that buying our product right now is the best thing. You always want to do the right thing, and as a judge, the most important thing you could possibly do is listen. But the reason I'm giving you this analogy, and the reason why we call this objection overruled, is because we know and you know that objections can indeed be overruled, but it's all about your posturing. I can't imagine ever seeing a judge that when one of the attorneys raised an objection, the judge went, that's a good, gosh, what should I do? That is a good objection. What do you think? Come on. A judge, no matter what, is always in control. They know the law. They know the subject matter upside down and backwards. So the bottom line is when someone says what they say, they immediately, without any hesitation, say objection overruled for this reason, or they allow the objection. That's all I'm sharing for you to do. When you watch these top field leaders, notice their posture. More than anything, rewatch this video again and again and again, and notice how they are not nervous. They're not freaking out when they get an objection. They understand, just like I shared with you in the beginning, an objection is a good thing. It's a request for more information. And also understand that they know that they have the power to make a ruling, and that they believe in our company and our product so much, and they know this. People are going to spend money. Come on, everyone spends money, and a lot of people waste money, and they believe in our product enough, like I do, that when someone's on the fence and has an objection, I'm going to tell them they should buy our product, because I know in my heart it's going to be one of the best purchases they make value-wise all year long. And I believe, like the people on the video you're going to see do, that this is a great business. The people on this video have all done very well financially with World Ventures, so they really believe in their heart that when they share the opportunity with someone, they're doing a really good thing. So belief and sincerity is a really big part of this. Notice a lot of what they're doing here is just really telling their own story to the potential prospects to help get them over the hump. And remember, a lot of people want to buy your product. A lot of people want to do the business. An objection is just a request for more information. So relax, take the posture of a judge, and remember, after watching these people perform, that you can overrule any objection anytime, if indeed that's the right thing to do. Now, we're almost ready to get to the heart and soul of this video, which is some of our top people from all over the world answering the objections that you're hearing every day and doing it in a really powerful way. See, again, in the beginning, these can be really overwhelming and nerve-wracking, but these people have heard these objections so many times. You'll see when they answer them so relaxed and so easily, because they've heard it again and again and again. They know exactly what to say to get a lot of people from this maybe I'm on the fence area to the yes category, which is obviously where we'd like to get them. But even though I'm saying that, remember, there's no answer to an objection that works every time. And many times the way we look at this is we're just collecting decisions. We say we're sorting, we're not really selling. We're sharing, we're not really selling. Now, the anatomy of answering objection is very simple. It's a very, very simple process. First of all, you want to listen to what the person says in their entirety. Secondly, you want to agree with them. Okay, whenever you argue with a customer, the customer is always right. Whenever you argue with the customer, you lose. So you listen, you agree, then you give them a different way of looking at what the basic objection is, and then last but not least, you re-ask for the order. Okay, now when we film this, this is one of those things that kind of happened by mistake. I know sometimes you read about a brilliant scientific discovery, they were looking for this and then discovered that by mistake. I had some of these folks coming into the studio to film for us, and what happened was when they were in there, as they were doing different things, I heard them answering different objections, and I said, man, we have got to just grab some of this on film. So some of this we ended up splicing in the other people, as you'll see here, to do the role playing with them after the fact. So some of them don't ask for the order at the end. Don't let that throw you off. The bottom line is these folks, these ladies and gentlemen, are exceptionally good at what they're doing. You're going to really enjoy this information, and I will be back numerous times throughout the rest of the video, putting everything on pause and coming in and explaining what they just did and why it's so important, so you understand the key, most important things you could possibly do to become great at answering objections. So that's really all we've got. Again, we are going to be the most trusted company. We're going to do everything the right way. We're going to treat people the way they want to be treated. We're going to be in charge. We're going to have the right posture. We're going to be the judge and make a ruling. And we're just going to relax and have fun and collect some decisions. So with all that being said, let's go to the video now and hear what some of the people just like you, the best people, are field leaders. Let's hear how they handle the objections and overrule them.
This looks really cool. I just don't think I have the time to do it right now.
I know exactly what you're saying, because when I saw this, I thought it was going to take a lot of time as well, but let me tell you what I figured out. It doesn't have to. Let me ask you, how many hours do you have in a given week to build a big income business?
Honestly, maybe only 3 to 4 hours a week at the most.
Exactly. So it doesn't matter how many hours you have, whether it's an hour, 3 hours, 10 hours. The way the system in World Ventures works is we're going to train you exactly how to do this and use your time in the most efficient and effective manner possible. You ready to get started?
Janie did a great job there. First of all, she listened to what a prospect had to say. Secondly, without any nervousness or uncomfortable attitude whatsoever, she had great posture, came back with a smiling, confident response, and let her know there's no reason why she couldn't end up doing the business. And then, at the end, she reclosed by saying, so, are you ready to get started? One other thing as a side note is the prospect said she only had 3 to 4 hours a week, and a lot of times people like yourself who are new may take that as a negative, but really think about our business very much like working out in gym. See, the people who are in really good shape in a gym, they don't go in the gym for 50 hours a week. They can go 3 hours a week or 4 hours a week and get good solid workouts during that time and end up being in phenomenal shape. It's not how many hours you put into something, it's how effective you are during that time. So believe it or not, just 3 to 4 hours a week in our business can definitely yield you some great fruit.
This looks really cool. I just don't have the time to do it right now.
Man, I know exactly how you feel. I felt the exact same way. But here's what I found out. When I saw World Ventures, I realized very quickly that this was a way to get my time back. See, I invited you here today because I want you to get your time back also. I care enough about you as a person that I know you're already missing some things with your kids, with your family. Things that you want to be doing, you're already missing out on because you're working so hard. That's exactly why I showed you World Ventures, because with this, you're able to get that back. So, you ready to get started?
So Jeremy did something in the beginning of this that we call feel, felt, realized. He agreed with his prospect. Remember that? I understand how you feel. I felt the same way, and then what I found was, and then he went ahead and told his story. And he also did another great technique where he actually used the objection as the reason why someone should get involved. Meaning if you don't have enough time, that's what this business is going to do, help you get the time back that you'd like to have. Come on, how many people want to be a life where they don't have enough time? We all want to have enough time to do the things we want, so he did a wonderful job of using the actual objection the person was giving him as the reason why they should get involved in the business, and then he reclosed saying, are you ready to get started?
This looks really cool, I just don't have the time to do it right now.
I totally understand not having the time. Trust me. When I saw this, I owned a photography studio. I was a nurse part-time. So my photography studio was full-time. I'm a nurse part-time. And my little boy Braden had just turned 2. So I totally understand no time. But here's the deal. I didn't always want that to be my story. I wanted more time. And when I saw the residual income portion of this, I saw a way that I could do this very part-time, but where it could over time buy me my time back, because residual income is time freedom. And I saw a way to get out of not having any more time. So you ready to get started?
This looks really cool. I just don't think I have the time to do it right now.
Listen, I know exactly how you feel. When I saw this, I was the busy guy, running 7 real estate offices, not really having time to do anything. And I loved World Ventures. I love everything I saw my first night. My one hang-up was yours. It was the same thing. I said, where am I going to have the time to do this? Well, here's what I found. It's not really about my time or your time. What it's more about is contacts. So I know you got a bunch of contacts that I don't have, okay? And I know if you get me in front of them, see, I'm willing to do this. I'll go to work. I got the time and the knowledge to do this business. You got the contacts. Let's just lock arms. You get me in front of 10 people, throw a party. Set them up at Starbucks. I don't care. Let's just, if you could come here tonight, here's what that means to me. You at least have time to go one night where you could throw a party at your house, and I'll come over. I'll do the work. I'll do the presentation. I'll do the training. I'll do clothes. I'll do everything. And what we're going to do is we're going to get your first 6 started so I can help you get your money back and get a little bit of profit. Then I want you to just get out of my way. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take those 6 people, and I'm going to find somebody through your contacts that actually does have some time. And the deal is you get paid off of what you start here, not what you finish. So just get me in front of those people. Let's team up. You got the contacts. I got the time and knowledge. Let's team up and build you a paycheck. You ready to get started?
You can see Eric did a great job of what everyone else has done before him, agreeing. Then he did a version of feel, felt, realized again, and then he went into his story and went a step further. He talked about you having contacts and me having time and energy to work the business. Now, that works for Eric because Eric does a business full-time. He really does work with his prospects. Needless to say, if you're in a situation where you weren't going to support someone and work with them like Eric is in this situation, then you probably wouldn't lean towards answering it the way he's doing it here. However, if you're into this and you're working hard and you are doing lots of presentations and you can look your prospect in the eye and know that you're going to be there to support them, and all they have to do is invite and you'll present, enroll, train, and do the rest of the work, and then dig within their group and help find the excited people and work with them as well. If you're going to follow through with everything Eric's talking about, then this is a phenomenal way to answer that objection. But we really believe in under-promise and over-deliver. You never want to over-promise and then under-deliver. I know Eric, and he always over-delivers on everything he's talking about. So again, what he's saying here is totally authentic for him. And if that would be true of you, then again, this is a tremendous way to handle things. And remember, at the end, he once again said, so are you ready to get started? He's just doing the 4-step process. You listen, you agree, you give them a different way of looking at it, and then you reclose your prospect.
I really like it. I just don't know if I have the money to do it right now.
I totally understand not having the money. When I saw World Ventures, I'm just telling you, I did not want to tell the man this, but I did not have the money in my checking account. So I literally pulled out an almost hot credit card because I have a really bad shopping problem. And I pulled out that credit card, crossed my fingers and hoped that it went through. Here's what I knew. I knew that I was sick and tired of not having any money. And I know you're sick and tired of not having any money. See, $365, when you're 80 years old, $365 is, you're not gonna look back at your life and go, that $365 just broke me. But what if you look back at your life and when you're 80 years old and said, that $365 completely changed my life. See, this 365 has completely changed my life. I have time and money freedom like I've never had before. So, you ready to get started?
Bethany does a great job here of agreeing with her prospect, and then she goes on and really does a wonderful job of giving a logical argument, if you will, on why getting started in this business really is sort of inexpensive when you look at what might come from it. Now, she says 365 there. Just to understand that as we film that, that was the full amount if you were going to go ahead and get the full product and become involved as a representative. That was, if you will, the most someone could put into it. But understand, she would have at this point already explained to the person, you don't need to buy the product to be a rep, and you don't need to be a rep to buy the product. That's all certainly something that was part of the presentation. And this is if she was talking to someone who did want to do the business and did want to go ahead for the maximum, if you will, with the 365. And at that point, she clearly lets them know that even though that's not an insignificant amount of money, when you look at it in the big picture, you see what she did there. She just really made a clever point and a really valid point. Again, remember, everything we're doing was within our core values. That was something that you can feel really comfortable saying to anyone you know, because there's a lot of truth in that. Not everyone is going to succeed when they get involved in our business, but for that amount of money to have a wonderful product and a business opportunity and a chance to really change your life if you are constantly in a position in your life where you don't have enough money, I think what she said made a lot of sense there.
I really like it. I just don't know if I have the money to do it right now.
I get it. I've been there too. I mean, it's funny. I was in college one time. There was an opportunity that was $1,500 to get started. Now, in college and money didn't really mix for me. I didn't have like a nickel or a dime to even rub, not even a nickel and a dime to even rub together. And so here's what I did, okay? I went out and I act as if I was doing it, okay? Because in my head, I was sold. I wanted to do this, okay? But the money thing was really just a little speed bump. See, the thing is, we don't want your money, we want your desire, okay? And so if you see yourself doing this, we just have to figure out and get creative how to get the money. But back to my story, I went out and I borrowed the money to get started. Okay, and I also, in the process of borrowing the money, I was out there doing presentations. So I already had sales lined up. And so when I finally got the money after I borrowed it took me a day, okay, I put those sales in and made my money back my first day. Now that was my story. That's what happened to me. The thing is, you want to ask yourself is, do you have the desire? Do you see yourself successful with World Ventures? And the thing is if you're not going to put the time and effort into this, then don't even worry about having the money because you're not going to do it. But if you see yourself doing this, get creative and find the money.
Jefferson does a lot of things great here on this clip. He obviously tells his story, and what he does that I really like in particular here is he really qualifies this prospect. If you're not, we want your desire. If you're not really excited about this, then there's no point in getting the money, certainly to do the business. Maybe you'd still get the money to buy the product, but if you're not really excited about the product, you probably shouldn't do that either. I love the fact that he's making it clear that if you're not excited, let's not even talk about this, but if you are passionate about it, then maybe like in his situation telling his story, then maybe like me, you should do what I did and figure out a way to get your hands on the money so you can take advantage of the opportunity. And he states your life depends on it. Well, maybe he's saying that because I know Jefferson before network marketing and after network marketing, and his life is dramatically different. So I think you can see why he's so passionate about overcoming this objection. Where would he be if he had let that stop him so many years ago?
I really like it. I just don't know if I have the money to do it right now.
Yeah, man, how does it feel to say that? Not so good, right? When I saw this for the very, very first time, I didn't have the money either. I'm not proud of that, but I didn't have the money either. But I knew one very simple thing. If I didn't figure out how to change my life, I was always going to continue to have what I always had. So what I had to do is I had to do something different. I had to figure it out. I personally had to put it on a credit card. And because of that, my life has changed dramatically. Because I made that one decision in time, that one decision on that one day when someone decided to show me World Ventures, I thought differently. See, my whole life I'd been saying things like, I don't have the money. And so I kept not getting money. But that one day I saw World Ventures, everything changed. I decided that day that I was going to figure out how to get the money. So I'll challenge you. Is this that day for you? And if it is that day for you, maybe that day is today where your life can be different also. So again, do you want to go ahead and make that change? Do you want to go ahead and bet on yourself today like I did? You ready to get started?
By now, I'm sure you're starting to realize that a lot of these answers are pretty doggone repetitive, which is a good thing. They're following the formula I shared with you earlier, and a lot of the way these people are handling objections very effectively is they're simply telling their story. All Jeremy did there is tell his true, honest story of how he got involved. And at the end, he's just being maybe a little bit more assertive than a new person might be by saying, so, are you ready for this to be your day? But again, there's nothing pushy about what he's doing. He's simply calling someone to action. He's saying, it worked for me. Are you ready to make a change in your life? Hopefully, you'll easily see that by the time you're done with this video and you've watched these again and again and again, that that's the posture we're talking about. The posture of someone who knows that what you're sharing with someone is really a great opportunity for them. The product is a really valuable product for them. So you'll feel comfortable calling people to action, knowing that it's some of the best money they're going to spend all year long.
Hey, I really like it, but I just don't have the money to do it right now.
Yeah, I understand how you feel. You know, times are tough. I don't think it does either of us any good if I sit here and sugarcoat it for you. To me, we live in America, and this is the wealthiest country there's ever been. And as an adult, if you don't have $365, you're telling me that you haven't been able to save 4 quarters a day for the last year of your life. This is what I know. If you want to keep that lifestyle, you can keep it. But if you want something different, let's do something different, man. I'm throwing you a life raft right now. I'm willing to go to work for free with you and for you to help you build a paycheck and help you change that lifestyle. So if you don't have the money right now, we'll figure it out. I know there's some way. Don't think of all the reasons why you can't come up with the money. Let's together think of some reasons how you can. But this is what I know. If you and I team up, we can get you out of that situation. So $365 is never an issue for you ever again. You ready to get started and come with me?
I love the way Eric is very direct and honest in his approach here. He even says he's not going to sugarcoat it, but by basically saying by not having $365, there's 365 days in a year, that you haven't been able to save 4 quarters a day for the last year, that's just a really good way to get people to understand maybe that what they're doing, their plan A, isn't working as well as they want to, and therefore if they want things to change, perhaps they need to think a little bit differently. I think he did a wonderful job with that, and again, as I shared with Eric's earlier commentary, he is telling people, if you figure out a way to get started, I'm going to be here to help you. Again, if you're not working the business more than a couple hours a week and you can't help the people you get on your team that way, don't say those kinds of things. We never want to overpromise. But if you are working the business and you are going to be able to help your team members, then it's a good thing to let them know you're going to be there for them, make them a lot more comfortable, figure out a way to make this happen.
I really like what I see, but I probably need to talk to my husband.
I get that every once in a while. So why don't we do this? Why don't, instead of going home and talking to your spouse about it, why don't we just have one quick run through first? Why don't you explain it to me in the way that you explain it to them when you get home? Go ahead and just practice that.
So there's this really cool thing. It's a travel club, and then we would get people, friends to join, and then that would put them in our downline. So then we could, you know, have them join us in this travel discounts and World Adventures, I think was what they called it. And then there was ways to get BMWs.
Jeremy does a really good job here because what happens in so many cases is someone comes in, looks at it, and after watching a presentation one time, most people only remember a small percentage of it, and then they go home and tell their spouse that small percentage, and it usually doesn't move them to action. Imagine you go to see the movie Braveheart, you come back and tell your spouse, it was about someone somewhere in the UK, I don't remember the exact country, it was this guy named William somebody, and he was really upset because his girlfriend got killed, and then he helped the country get free. You know, I don't know if you'd be dying to run out and go see Braveheart after that explanation, but that would be kind of the way some people would explain the movie after watching it. See, what you really want to do is be able to get the person to see the movie with you the exact same way that they saw the movie. So by Jeremy asking his prospect to re-explain the opportunity and her clearly getting a lot of it wrong, including the name of the company, he sort of let her prove to herself that her explanation to her spouse isn't really going to be that effective.
Well, see, that's exactly why you want to get enrolled right now. See, you're really excited and you want to change the future of your family. So here's what we're going to do. Let's make the decision to enroll now, and then I will come with you and I will show your family just exactly why you're so excited as well. That way we're doing it as a family, or you're doing it as a family. And so here's what we want to do. We want to go ahead and get you enrolled and then go take it home and show your spouse and your family together. So you ready to get started?
Now, Jeremy obviously goes on and recommends his prospect get started. Now and then he'll go home with them and explain everything to the spouse so everyone's excited about what's going on. Now, you can do it that way. The bottom line is, even for a spouse who's super excited and doesn't even mention bringing it up and getting their spouses approved beforehand, a lot of our reps will do a game planning session with their new prospect and want to include the spouse now anyway, because we always want people to be in harmony together. It's very, very difficult when two people are married for one person to be excited about something, the other person not to be supportive. So whether it's the way Jeremy's doing it here, whether maybe sometimes the person's just not ready to sign up, so you go home with them and actually do the presentation for both of them and then get them started in the business. Either way, the bottom line is we really want to make sure that we're getting significant others on board, because the bottom line is long term, that's the way the person's going to have the most success anyway.
I really like what I see, but I'll have to talk to my wife first.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I've got a spouse as well. That's a very important conversation, and you should do that because you guys are partners, okay? So here's the thing. Here's a question I want to ask you. Is it that you really want to do this, but you just have to ask your spouse, or is it you're just telling me that because you don't want to tell me no?
Okay, he does a great job there of agreeing with his prospect. No argument whatsoever. Does a great job agreeing, but then moving on. And he asked them point blank if this is really their objection, or if they're just saying that because they really may not want to do the business and don't know how to say no politely. Again, this will work with any objection, but he does a wonderful job of the way he positioned it here.
Okay, so you really want to ask your spouse. Okay, great. So here you have two choices. A couple things. Number one is, have you ever gone to your spouse and when you go home, you tell them about something and they shot it down? Yeah, it's happened to me too, okay? But let's prevent that from happening, all right? Because that didn't feel good, does it? No, it doesn't, all right? So let's do this. Let's set an appointment where you and I can speak to you and your spouse together, and I can show your spouse just like you saw it, okay? So we can do that, or we can have you sign up right now. We can help you get a paycheck, and we could show them a check. So it's up to you. We can either show them a check, or we can set an appointment right now so we can go talk to your spouse.
And this is probably the ultimate way to handle this objection, where you give them really a choice. Do you want to get signed up right now, get things going, and then go show your spouse how great the business is? Or would you rather that we just stop right now? I go with you and do the presentation with you for your spouse. As Jeremy showed us in an earlier illustration, a lot of times if they go home without you and try to do the presentation without you, they leave so much out. It just really doesn't work at all. So Jefferson does a great job here, and there's nothing pressure-packed about this, and he's not forcing anyone to make a decision or uncomfortable making. Either make the decision to buy now, or let me go with you and let's do this the right way. Really great job what he does here handling this objection.
I want to do it, but I've never sold anything.
Listen, I understand that, and you know what? That's exactly why I called you. Because here's the deal. We're not looking for salespeople. I was a salesperson before I saw this, and you know what? You can be successful in this as a salesperson, but honestly, most of the time, salespeople are not very good at this business because this isn't sales, this is sorting. And to me, if I had 100 salespeople or 100 teachers to work World Ventures with, I'm picking 100 school teachers every time. Because this is a relationship business. And the slimy salesperson doesn't do well in World Ventures. The people that do well are the trustworthy people. See, if you're never a salesperson, here's what I know. You've never asked your friends to join anything. Your friends, when you call them and say, hey, come over, they're gonna come over and they're actually gonna see it. And your friends trust you and respect your opinion because of that. So this is what I know. If you're worried about doing the presentation and you're worried about doing that side of it, I'm going to be with you every step of the way to help you do some of the salesy side of the business. Just let me do that stuff. What you need to do is just focus on inviting. So you're not a salesperson, but I do know this. You can get a room full of people to show up. And if you get a room full of people to show up, we team up, lock arms, and I take care of everything else. You ready to get started?
Eric does a great job here of really nailing it on the head by saying, look, we're really not looking for salespeople. We don't want necessarily people with previous sales experience, because a lot of times that aggressiveness or that pushiness is not what we're looking for. We don't want to sell people on getting involved in the business. We want to sort through them and find the people that are really excited about it. But then, as you've seen Eric answer each objection on his video, the way he really goes every time is by saying, anyway, all you've got to do is put people in the room and I'll do the rest of the work. And as I said on the previous times, you would never use that technique if you weren't working the business enough hours to be there to present and close and train for the people who are getting involved in the business. But again, Eric, for anyone who's doing the business full-time, even anyone who's doing the business an aggressive amount of hours, and you are there building teams, doing presentations, and doing trainings for the people in your area, then for sure the way Eric does this is tremendous. Just make sure you follow through on any and all promises you make to your prospects.
I want to do it. I just haven't sold anything before.
I know exactly what you're saying. Look, I'm not a salesperson either, but this is what I found. You don't want to be a salesperson in this business. You simply want to be a share person. All we want to do is let people know the amazing products that we have, whether they want to travel or whether they want to make some money. And we're going to plug you into a system that is going to change your life and show you how simple this is. Are you ready to get started?
Janie uses the simple feel, felt, realize technique that we shared with you several times earlier in the course of this video. And then she moves along and does something that's so important. She talks about our system. And again, folks, whether it's the free First Things First videos or it's our WV Advantage, World Ventures Advantage, online training with videos and audios, and certainly our live programs, and then our many, many different tools that we have got a system set in place that if they just plug into our training, we will share with them everything they need to know about acquiring customers and building a big business. So really important that when someone says, I'm not a salesperson, you've got to let them know we really do have world-class training here. Training may be one of the very best things that World Ventures has to offer.
I want to do it, but I've never sold anything before.
Oh, that is perfect, because I am not looking for salespeople. Look, salespeople, they try to convince people to do this. We don't want to convince anybody to do this. This is a sharing game. You either want to do this or you don't want to do this. I have no time nor desire to convince anybody to do anything. And I found that salespeople are sometimes harder to train. So I'm glad you're not a salesperson. Honey, all we got to do is show this and show it to your friends. They either want it or they don't. That's all you got to do. So you ready to get started?
Bethany's response here may be the best on the entire video of having the right posture and not being intimidated by anyone's objection. I mean, she literally turns their objection into a positive. Thank God. That's not what I'm looking for. It's perfect and you never sold anything before. Again, she is listening, agreeing, and then sharing them a different way to look at what's going on. And then obviously at the end, she simply recloses. Just a phenomenal way to handle this objection.
I want to do it, but I've never sold anything.
This is not sales. We don't sell, we don't beg, we don't chase, we don't convince. We simply collect a decision. We show and tell. We show you the idea, we tell you how it works, and then you tell us if you want to be a part of it or not. It's very, very simple.
This is the clip of Ed I referenced in the very beginning of this video, where he simply explains, we are not salespeople, we're simply collecting decisions. That's such a brilliant way of putting it. So you don't have to be a salesperson, you don't have to be persuasive, you just simply go out there and share the opportunity, and either they say yes or they say no, and either way we move on and talk to somebody else.
I want to do it, I just haven't sold anything before.
You don't have to sell this, okay? I don't think you really have to sell vacations and beaches and all this stuff around the world. Really, all you have to do is present it, okay? And it's really up to them to make that decision. And that's what I've done. I've just kind of wiped my hands clean of trying to like make somebody want to do something. It's too much stress. I don't think we want another job, do we? No. I mean, let's have fun with this thing. Fun, freedom, and fulfillment, and let's just go show the video. Use Scott Ross's 3-step setup video, okay? Learn that. You master that, and you just press play on that video and just ask them the call to action questions, you know? What'd you like best? That was awesome, wasn't it? What'd you like best? You know, you ready to get started? High five. It's that simple. If they don't see it, there's no need to convince them. I mean, you know, a man or a woman convinced against their will is of the same opinion still, right? If you got to convince them to join, then you got to convince them to go to a training, then you got to convince them, heaven forbid, to go on a dream trip. I mean, who wants those people, right? So just show the video. Let's keep it simple, all right?
I think as you watch this, you're starting to feel better and better about being involved with our company, because look at what he's saying. We don't want to chase people. We don't want to convince people. This is the essence of what we do. We've got the deal. We've got the fun, freedom, and fulfillment company. We're just sharing it with people. Not everyone likes everything. You know, I was just in New York. The people in New York, a lot of them love the New York Yankees. They're diehard New York Yankee fans. You know what? There's a bunch of people in New York who don't like the Yankees. Not everyone likes everything. That would make things boring. So the only way to sell any item is to share it in the best possible way you possibly can, share what you love about it, and then let people make a decision. So Jefferson explains that that's all we're doing. We're putting it out there. He does mention Scott Ross's 3-step setup, which is part of our First Things First. That's our free training videos. Make sure you watch that and again and again and again and really get that down. And all the videos, not only the ones on First Things First, but because you're watching this DVD, I know that you're also part of the World Ventures Advantage program, and the training videos and audios on there are just so spectacular, guys. Just please plug in, listen to 30 minutes of this information every day, and you'll be amazed at how knowledgeable of our business you'll be in less than a year's time.
It looks pretty good, but is this one of those pyramid things?
You're familiar with Mary Kay Cosmetics, right? So Mary Kay, they do about $3 to $4 billion a year, one of the top cosmetic brands in the world. They're a network marketing company, and I'm sure you're savvy enough to realize that's not a pyramid scheme, right? Okay, well, World Ventures, we're like the Mary Kay of travel. We're the largest network marketing travel company in the world. So, not at all. You ready to get started?
Your posture answering this objection is the most important in the whole world. There's so many companies in the network marketing industry that have not been the greatest companies, and obviously we can't do anything about that, but there is that stigma out there of a friend who has a cousin who got involved in one of those deals. So this will come up from time to time, and Matt did a great job of clearly saying that not all companies are like that. He references Mary Kay. Our co-founder Wayne Nugent always said that he wanted to be the Mary Kay of travel, meaning that Mary Kay is the biggest cosmetics company in the network marketing industry, so we wanted to be the biggest travel company in the network marketing industry, and as we know of the filming of this video, that's exactly who we are. So it's a wonderful analogy to just basically point out that we are a very legitimate company doing business just like Mary Kay.
It looks really good, but is this one of those pyramid schemes?
I know exactly where you're coming from. That is actually what I thought when I saw it. But let me tell you what I found. Pyramids are actually illegal. Pyramids are when you take somebody's money in exchange for no product. Look, World Ventures is legal in all 50 states. We are in 24 countries now. We are the fastest growing leisure travel company in the world. And I'm going to show you a couple of people that have come into my life. We have a magazine in World Ventures called Living Proof. And right here is Dr. Troy Brown. Dr. Troy Brown was an anesthesiologist. He was able to walk away from that. He has time freedom and financial freedom. And you're not going to have a doctor get involved in a pyramid that's illegal. We have every walk of life. Trust me. If this wasn't something legal, we wouldn't be doing it. Are you ready to get started with us?
Janie does a phenomenal job of answering this. It can't do it any better, really. And again, she uses the tool to show many of the people that are involved in this company and clearly letting people know that folks of that caliber would not be involved in something that wasn't a business. It was totally on the up and up.
It looks pretty good, but is this one of those pyramid things?
No, it's totally not a pyramid. I get where you're coming from because like it has a shape of a pyramid, but every single structure, you know, the church, the government, you know, most companies we work for have that type of structure.
So what Jefferson's saying here is a really good point. In virtually any company, you have one CEO at the very top. Then you have vice presidents at the next level. If it's a small company, maybe there's 2 or 3. Sometimes there's 20 or 30. Then you're going to have regional managers, and there's certainly a lot more of them. And then you have maybe local managers, and there's a lot more of them. And just keep it simple, we have employees on the bottom. So in many different corporations and many different organizations, there's less people, obviously, at each rank the higher you go up. So many companies end up looking exactly like a pyramid.
Would all these major travel suppliers from around the world do business with us if we were doing something illegal? Of course not. You know, would Mike and Wayne get the finalist award from Ernst & Young in 2010 and they were nominated if we were illegal? No. Okay, and so the thing is the illegal pyramid is exchange of money with no product. We've got a product. And the other litmus test is this, you know, does this product, could it sell on the shelf without an opportunity attached to it? The answer is yes. Because a lot of companies out there, or a lot of, I guess what you could say, pyramids, that product has to have an opportunity attached to it. This one doesn't. People travel all the time. Travel memberships, vacation club memberships have been sold for decades and decades for way more than what we're charging. So we're only charging, you know, $199 US for the membership, you know, and either $27 or $55 a month. Hardly gonna big risk for anybody. But the main thing is this, is that if you see yourself traveling the world, you're gonna pay less with us versus going out in the marketplace and paying retail. And so that's how that works.
Jefferson says something very important there, that the product must stand alone from the opportunity for it to be a really legitimate company. And we do, folks. Travel clubs have been around long before World Ventures, and there's travel clubs that cost a lot more than what World Ventures is charging. And the people who go on our dream trips are very happy with the result. I don't know the exact statistics, but it's 85 or 90% of people who are going on these dream trips are staying with their membership. So it's a really good product that people really do use and love.
It looks really good, but is this one of those pyramid things?
Well, understand when you're looking at this idea that when we draw out our business structure and we draw out our compensation plan, since we want to explain it so everybody knows how it works, it actually looks, you know, like a pyramid structure. My first night, I was so naive, never having any experience in this industry, never reading any books on it. I don't know if you've taken courses. It's called network marketing. It's a huge industry worldwide, but I didn't know much about it, and I didn't know pyramid was a legal term. I'm sure you didn't either. That's why you used it, because you wouldn't think I would be doing something illegal, just like I wouldn't think you would be doing something illegal.
Eric does a great job there and makes a phenomenal point. Notice how nice he was when he was saying those things. But the bottom line is he really does point out that when someone says that to you, they're almost implying that you are doing something illegal. And needless to say, if they were to think it through, bottom line is they probably wouldn't even have brought it up in the first place. However, based on some of the industry stigma that we definitely know and acknowledge, we understand why people say this kind of stuff. But the way Eric just addressed that is excellent.
So what a pyramid is, just so you know, is the exchange of money with no product. So it would be called a birthday club, or back in the day a Ponzi scheme, something like that. But obviously you understand we're not doing something illegal here. We have distinct products. We're sending people on vacations all over the world. We have the Dream Trips Life offering. So we're more similar to a lot of the other companies, the household names that you've heard of in our industry. So, you know, for me, if you draw out the structure of any business, so if you work at a major company, or really even a small company, there's always a CEO where there's one of those guys, and then there's a VP and there's 2 of those guys, and, you know, there's high-level managers and there's 5 of those guys, and then there's mid-level managers and there's 10 of those guys. And if you draw out any major structure, our government, a corporation, pretty much any major structure, it looks like a pyramid. So you're actually in a pyramid at your job, and I'm trying to get you out today. Are you ready to get started?
Really good for you to just notice Eric's energy and his posture throughout this entire piece. He's very calm, very relaxed, very genuine, very transparent, and he's giving people very logical reasons why this clearly is not some sort of a legal pyramid.
It looks pretty good, but is this one of those pyramid things?
Look, I get it. I understand. Let me ask you a question first. What would be your definition of a pyramid? Because most people don't know what an actual pyramid is. The definition of a pyramid is the exchange of money with no service or product. We obviously have an unbelievable product, and pyramids are illegal, and I wouldn't be doing anything that was illegal. See, most people think that because they say, oh, the way it's shaped, and look, I get it, but here's the deal. You work at a bank. So here's the thing. You've got the president of the bank, you've got a couple of vice presidents, you've got some regional managers, you've got some financial advisors, and then you've got a bunch of bank tellers. What is that shaped like? I get it, a pyramid. So here's the thing though, is the bank president gonna come down and teach that teller how to make more money than him? No, but here's what's cool with what we're doing. I'm gonna come down and teach you how you can make more money than me, because if you're not successful, I'm not successful. That's why it's not a pyramid. So you ready to get started?
I think you notice here that in the beginning, Bethany's almost a little bit indignant with someone implying she'd be doing something illegal, and she's very emphatic about making clear that she would never be involved in something like that. So just a great way to explain it. She clearly goes through explaining sort of what I did on how all companies end up taking the shape of a pyramid type situation, but she makes a really great distinction that in a typical corporation, the people at the top rarely can take someone at the bottom and show them how to make just as much or even more money. And that's why our business is even better than a traditional corporation would be set up like. So there you have it. That's our Objections Overruled video. I would highly encourage you to take this and watch it over and over and